Another option that we have from the side is when our partner is going to try to turn to his shoulder, alleviating the pressure from the head and arm. We have the option either 1 to go to the back, or 2, one of my favorites, looking to go in for the arm in rear naked choke. So we're here in the head and arm. Obviously, what our partner wants to try to do is he wants to try to turn away. He wants to get to his side as best as possible from here. That's going to make it harder for me to put down the pressure and finish the head and arm. Now, sometimes, first of all, if he turns to his side and he keeps rolling, you can stick with the head and arm. If your positioning is strong enough, you can even fall all the way to your back. I've had times where someone is really strong, they roll me all the way over, and I'm so committed to this that I can still finish the head and arm from here as long as I switch to controlling my wrist. You can still put enough pressure to get the tap from there. But I wouldn't always recommend that. I would try your best to keep your dominant position and to try to stay on top. So if he starts turning, we have the ability to shift our hands and look to find the rear naked choke from there. So from here, we have our head and arm, and let's say he's not sitting up like we'll look at. He's just going to turn to his shoulder. Now, we're not going to allow him to turn too far. He's just going to turn a little bit towards his side, and as he's doing that, I'm going to shift my hands. So we always talked about when we're finishing the head and arm, keeping my hands by my face. This time when we're looking for the arm in rear naked choke, I'm going to shift my hands towards him here. The reason why I'm doing that is that I want to get the proper positioning where the blade of my wrist right here is going to find the side of his neck. What I want you guys to think about with this finish is it's very similar to a darce. Whenever you're looking to finish a darce, you never want to overcommit your arm to get the finish, because you see when I'm getting a darce here and my arm is too far in, I have more of my forearm and more of my bicep on the side of his neck and more of my wrist on the back of his neck here. So it's not quite as strong. It might be pressure on the back of his neck, but it's not necessarily choking him. That's always one mistake that people make from the darce. Whenever you're finishing it from there, you always want to try to get the blade of your wrist to the side of your partner's neck more than anything. So that's going to be the same thing that applies when getting the arm in rear naked choke. Shifting your hands so that the blade of the wrist ends up on the side of the neck rather than going too far and maybe ending up with the forearm and the bicep on the neck. Okay. So we're here again. He starts turning away. I shift my hands from in front of my face to just under his head. And you see from here, the blade of my wrist is on the side of the neck. And from here, I keep my head low, of course, because I don't want him to start freeing his arm. Now from here, my right hand is going to stay right where it is. And I'm just going to slide my left arm up like this, having my right hand meet my bicep. Now from here, I don't want to just keep my hand hanging, all right? Because what happens here is he can start gathering my arm and start controlling from here, and I kind of lose my position. So as soon as I connect my bicep, my goal is to try to reach the top of his head. Not even just the top of his head, but ideally if I can find his ear. I never thought there'd be ear grips, but in this case, the ear is my goal. I'm trying to find his ear. If they have really bad cauliflower ear, it's even easier. So from here, I just try to find the ear. If you end up on the top of the head, that's fine. If you end up behind the head, I just want to make sure I'm making a connection. Ideally all the way by his ear. And now all I'm just going to do is I'm just going to drive my weight forward, bring in my elbows in, and I can get the tap from there. Okay? So real simple, if you feel like someone's turning away from you, turning to their side, we have the ability to bring the hands under the head, switching to the rear naked choke. Even if the arm is in, that's fine. As long as the blade of the wrist finds the side of the neck, you're going to be good to go from there. So from here, he turns away a little bit. If I don't allow him to turn all the way, I'm just going to bring my hands under his head, and I can start finding the arm in, rear naked choke from there. Remember the key, making sure that you shift those hands, blade of the wrist, finding the side of the neck, and we can get the tap pretty easy from there.